It's getting there. I can watch a bar as it goes up saying we're about to go live. Need about 20 more percent.
Oh, snap.
We are back, the making of a marketer, on this happy Wednesday. And Jess, this is an exciting show we have on hand today. And I must say, Jess, I've super put my voice together because last night was the Linkin Park concert here in Pittsburgh, and my ability to go to a midweek concert, it has to be someone that's really drawn me out. There's multiple people saying they took vacation days today. They were smart. I was not. But here we are, Jess, and let's make this happen.
And what cup of coffee are you on?
I'm only on one right now, but it was
Oh,
a blueberry espresso with like berry notes in the espresso, added with some blueberry and a frothy milk. Like we've gone full bougie over here with our coffee making.
I love it. I love it. And how was the concert? Is there a one word takeaway?
I would say inspirational, if that was the one
Ooh.
word takeaway, because to see 50-year-olds, Mike Shinoda doing his thing in his late 40s, Emily Armstrong, the new lead, of course, replacing Chester, just like their chemistry together and kind of bringing this new version of Linkin Park, it just brought some energy to like, it really honored Chester in a way that I wasn't sure if they could do, but I left there feeling like really fulfilled. So it was a great show.
That's wonderful. And chemistry can happen at any age.
Yes, that is true. We keep going, and we're going to get right into it today because we got a jam-packed show with a guest that I am super excited to welcome. Liz, I'm going to make your intro the Fresh Princess of Email Marketing. Is that correct?
That's what they say. Yeah.
That's what they say. So we have to have you on. And email marketing is something I can't wait to jump into because I have some horror stories to tell that I'm going to surprise you with of when I tried email marketing and why I needed you in 2016. But first off, let's intro Liz, Fresh Princess of Email Marketing, also participant in Survivor 46 for those of us that are fans. Someone who did really good, didn't have one vote cast against her in the rare club that exists. So, Liz, we are super excited to have you on today, and we're going to touch a wide spectrum of topics.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm super stoked. And thanks for bringing up never getting any votes cast against me. That is like my new fun fact. So I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yes. Oh, Survivor nerds, we know about our statistics, and there's just certain rare clubs that exist. So you
It's
got to have
very
that badge.
rare.
Yes.
Very rare.
So, Liz, let's first start off at season 3 of our show. Our theme this year is talking about selling unconventional ideas, selling things through that could be different, nuanced, things to clients, partners. Like, what is your method to your magic when selling something that might be different, selling ideas? Is there something that you go to when trying to get that big thing through?
Yeah, so if you're a Survivor fan, you know that my strategy was like super off the wall, very unconventional, and that's just how I market in my business as well. That's how I live my life, right? When everybody's zigging, I ask myself, how can I zag, right? I know that I couldn't fit in if I tried. And so, how can I get people behind ideas that people would say, like Andy said, are unconventional? But really, it's just about bringing your strengths forward and asking your audience, hey, what can we do with this over here? For example, my very first product, and I don't think Andy or Jess probably know this unless they went really deep into the Liz Wilcox lore. My very first product, I was an RV travel blogger, and it was a collection of funny stories, like crappy stories around RVing. It was called Tales from the Black Tank. If you guys don't know what the black tank is, it's where your sewage goes in your RV. So it was literally a book about crap. A lot of, if you're getting into this online business thing, you might hear, sell info products. But my first product wasn't an info product because, frankly, everyone was doing that. But my first product was a book of entertainment. Andy mentioned Survivor. He's got, a background full of basketball and other entertaining things, right? We all love entertainment. So it might even seem unconventional, but really, I just saw actually entertainment is a huge industry. It's bigger than the info industry. And so I asked my audience, hey, I'm just getting going here. I'm not exactly sure why you follow me. Can you let me know what's up? Why do you like Liz Wilcox? And they said, oh, you're really funny. You can tell a good story. So I used my audience to create the idea. It wasn't that I came up with the idea. I'm super unconventional, but the unconventional part was I didn't come up with the idea. My audience did. My audience said, hey, Liz, you're funny. Hey, you can tell a good story. So, I put two and two together. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm going to create a collection of funny stories about RVing. I could have gone, the traditional way of, oh, everybody's telling me an info product. All right, let me teach. What can I teach? What can I teach? But I went to my audience. Again, I'm zagging when everyone else is zigging. And my audience told me what the product was. And now I'm almost 10 years into business. And anytime I feel at a loss for an idea, I go to my audience and they can usually give me a great idea.
Wow, no questions here because I absolutely agree with you. This is what I talk about all the time. Liz, I could just shout from the rooftops right now. I 100% agree. I will say just a comment. I bet your book took off during 2020 as well, or as we were getting into the pandemic, and what? Oh man, what did they call it? Where you people the movement of just going across country in your RVs and your trailers and
Clamping,
doing your
right?
work from the road.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the,
Digital nomads, I
Yeah.
think, might be
yes.
the term
Yeah.
you're looking for. Yeah, so I started my RV blog in 2016. And it's funny you mentioned about 2020 because I actually sold that blog like the day after the world shut down. I was like, I gotta sell this blog because travel's getting shut down. But yeah, it was good for the RV business because, what I couldn't have predicted, and maybe I would have kept the business, is that, that was going to skyrocket. Speaking of unconventional ideas, okay, we're all stuck inside. We can't travel. How can I think outside the box to travel? Oh, well, I'm working remotely. Let me get an RV. I can do the national park, state park thing and still, not have to stay at home. So that was, to Jess's point, uh, a huge surge of people. And yeah, that book still sells today. I'm friends with the owners of that blog, and they say, oh, yeah, that's still something we sell, once a week, every month. It's still got your weird face on the cover. I'm making like a funny face. That's another thing. When you have an unconventional idea and it's unconventional, you've got to lean in, right? You just have to go for it. With that, Tales from the Black Tank, I would just lean into the funny parts of it, lean into the gross parts of it, be like, yeah, this will teach you nothing except for what not to do, right? And then nowadays I sell a $9 a month like template membership, and the unconventional part of it is it's $9, and so that's something that I lean really heavily into. And I'll say even on the sales page and the sales emails, yeah, for $9, you might think this is the crappiest thing you're going to buy all month, but I want you to buy it anyway. I want to prove you wrong. And so I just kind of lean into that unconventional part of the pricing, and that gets people's attention and it gets them moving. It kind of reminds me of, do you guys remember those ads? It was around 2020, I think, the Squatty Potty. Do
Yeah.
you guys remember those ads? And it was like a unicorn and the ice cream. I won't get into it. but they just leaned into, okay, this is kind of an unconventional idea. It's kind of a weird topic, it's kind of taboo. How can we just lean into it and make it fun? And now everybody has one in their bathroom or a stool, or they really really changed the culture, I think, in North America for everyone to have one. And it's only because they were so brave and so bold to lean into the unconventional advertising and marketing.
And Liz, let's talk about your now pivot into email marketing,
Yeah.
because my history in email marketing was I was a social media manager. I went to an agency, got hired on. You're running paid ads for all these clients. Oh, yeah, Andy, we also need you to do email. And I'm like, holy crap, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I was sweating every time I hit the send button on MailChimp. So, like, no experience at all. So, like, I'm hearing things like open rates and, all of the metrics, all the X's and O's, and I needed it to slow down a little bit. And that's so much what I like about your business is you're talking really human to human when it comes to email marketing and bringing it in a more understandable way. So I'm curious how you started getting into email, and kind of just curious your thought process again, zigging when zagging, the marketing, the 90s nostalgia is part of your business. We all love that. How is that breaking through to your clients in the email world?
Yeah, so I started as that RV travel blogger. And again, I saw people doing the blogging, the social media, YouTube, Pinterest, email, all the things, ads, all the things that Andy was talking about. But then I realized, wait a second, all of those things are sort of top of funnel and they all bleed and lead into the email. And the email is where most people say, like, that's where you're going to get your ROI. And so I thought, well, again, how can I be more efficient? How can I be a little unconventional here? Because I don't have time to do A, B, C, D, and E. If email is really where it's at, mama didn't raise no fool. How can I just, skip to the good part? Right. And so I started doing podcasts like this, uh, figuring out how to collaborate with people, all to just grow my email list. And from day one of launching my blog, I launched my email list. Hey, join my list, join my list, join my list. And so all my efforts were going towards that human to human connection Andy was talking about. All my efforts were, how can I connect with this audience? Who is this audience? Asking them, why do you follow me? Who are you? Where did you find me? Did you hit the road yet? Are you trying to go full time? Do you want to be a digital nomad? Are you retired and you're just going for the weekends or summer? Just asking questions, questions, questions. And that's when I realized, oh, these are just people. I can cut through all the BS that, um, people trying to charge me $10,000 for a sequence are saying, and I can just talk human to human. Even when you deal with corporate clients, let's say, you're listening and you're C-suite level, or you're like, okay, Liz, but I'm not dealing with retired men who are just trying to hit the road. Like, I'm dealing with professionals here. At the end of the day, there is a human reading that email. And if you can connect on that human level, if you can connect while not wasting their time, because there's a way to do it where you don't waste their time. If you're trying to connect and people feel they can see through that when it's cheesy or it's too forced, right? But if you're just, hey, I'm busy, you're busy, you signed up for this, here are all the details, hit reply if you want to get going, that's, oh, wow, that person sees me as a human. I am a busy human. I'm in corporate. I've got 10,000 other emails I've got to answer today, or Larry is going to be ticked off, right? And so if I can just cut through that, if I can realize who my audience is, talk to them like a real human, envision myself in their, where are they when they open this email? If they're at work, they're probably busy, they've got a boss, they're trying to get out of there by 5 p.m. How can I cut through that and just talk to them? Whereas for me, it was the opposite. It was They're not busy. They're semi-retired. They have all the time in the world to read, right? So maybe my emails were longer or shared more links or I sent emails more often or whatever, right? Think about who your person is and talk to that person directly. And that's how you're going to, all those metrics Andy was talking about that were a little scary. That's how you're going to, increase them without even trying.
Again, love these thoughts, 100% agree. Can you tell us more about how nostalgia plays into this? Because, like Andy and I were talking about, we love your website. We love, I mean, me Saved by the Bell, Zach Morris vibes. And that's exactly where I want to be. I actually want to get one of the phone. I want to get rid of my smartphone, and I hope we get back to the flip phone or one of Zach Morris's phones.
I
I'm
love that.
all in. Yes, all in for that. But I feel like you're onto something too, because I think so nostalgia is something that we all need right now. And I feel like there is nostalgia with email marketing as well and the
Yes.
brand and strategy. So tell us more.
Yeah, thank you for noticing. Yeah, electronic mail. It's it's retro, but it still works. So with me and my branding, if you go to lizwilcox.com, yeah, it looks like Saved by the Bell vomited on the website, right? You can even see in my background, let me just move it. I've got NSYNC over here, Will Smith, everything's, I even have some Survivor stuff up here somewhere. I won't move it. Anyway, it is purposeful. It is intentional. Listen, I know email feels difficult. Andy just told us, somebody, barked at him, hey, you got to do email too. And, it's panic mode, right? I know it feels complicated, but if I can get you in a different state, if I can make you smile like Jess is smiling right now when you hit my page, suddenly you're a lot more open to what I have to say. Nostalgia is very powerful. It puts us in a state of happiness, right? And I know email is the opposite. It's like, oh, cringe, gross, right? What do you mean you like the Backstreet Boys? That's gross. What do you mean you want me to email? That's gross. But if I can get you feeling a certain type of way because of my branding, because it's fun, it puts you back at a time where you had, less responsibilities, etc., then maybe you'll be open to what I have to say. Again, email, I know it's not sexy, right? But thinking about, the NSYNC versus Backstreet Boys versus 98 Degrees, that's a lot more fun. So if I can get you in that state, I can get you to trust me enough to take that first step with email marketing. And the way that I teach it, I know I can teach it really simply. And so I know you can see results. So that branding that you see at lizwilcox.com, you see in my background today, even in my glasses that are rainbow, it's actually really, really intentional. It's on purpose because I want you in the best way to let your guard down so you can hear what I'm saying about email. If I showed up in a suit and tie and my branding was super professional, my website looked just like LinkedIn, you would probably be intimidated. And because I work with a lot of beginners in email marketing, I want the exact opposite so you can get going.
And I love the follower to friend to consumer framework you framed up there, Liz, because that's something actually like I'm talking major companies, $100,000 of budgets. Like I've talked to them about B2B strategy before. We got the lead, you have some really qualified leads, we're looking at it, and I'm like, wow, like you've got some really good folks in your pipeline. What happened? And the response was, well, we called a VP of this, a CFO of that. They didn't answer the phone. And I like just flip my desk and I'm just like, of course they don't answer the phone. They probably get called all day by random numbers from who knows where. What's your email strategy? And sometimes I get blank stares. So even at the highest levels, Liz, I think that is a gap sometimes we see. And I love the framework that you have here. Is that something you came up with yourself? Something that kind of came to you from the customers? Kind of explain how this framework came about and lead some of the strategy that you teach.
Yeah, so when I was moving from my travel site to the email marketing thing, I had people say, well, how do you do it, Liz? Like, what is the process? And so I did have to sit down. I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? I'm like, okay, well, I get followers to join my list. Then I get really friendly with them. I turn them into a friend because, people buy from people they trust. I trust my friends. And once I have a list full of friends, I can have a list full of customers because I know what they want, right? Jess told me, Andy told me, right? They told me they liked my stories. So what did I create? A book of stories, right? And so when I say friend, I don't mean, someone you spew everything at. You look at all the skeletons in my closet, but there's a certain connection that you have, right? If I started a nostalgia blog for the 90s, we would be friendly over the 90s. We would talk about just the 90s. I wouldn't talk about, what's happening right now, in global news. I wouldn't talk about being a parent. I wouldn't talk about this, that, and the other. I would stick to the topic, and that's our friendship is built on that, right? And so think about when you start your email list, like what is that thing we have in common? What is that shared vision? My email list right now, my shared vision, I want you to make money with email marketing. I don't care, no offense, I don't care about your podcast editing. I don't care about your microphone. I don't care what camera you use. I don't care if you're posting on social media. All I care about is your email list. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you about. And that's what our friendship is going to be built on. And then I'm going to, invite you into my programs, my products, my services, etc., because I know that's where I can solidify the friendship, where you say, yep, Liz is my BFF in email marketing. And so, yes, to Andy's point, there is a huge gap. If you're just calling, sending mail, etc., think about that busy CEO or, that person that's higher up. What are they doing when they wake up? They're probably checking their email. That's probably the first thing they do. They look at their phone, turn the alarm off. Oh, I got 10 new emails. They click it and they just browse it. Maybe they open one or two. If you can become that one or two person, oh, I know Andy. I wonder what he has to say today. Then you're chef's kiss. You're golden, right? And so there are certain emails that you open no matter what, right? Those are the people that we think, oh, I'm friendly with this. Oh, I know who Jess is. I wonder what she has to say today, right? It's the inbox is the same as the mailbox. When you go out to the mailbox, it's like, oh, that's a bill. That's for, somebody who moved out a couple months ago. Oh, this Liz Wilcox sent me something. I wonder what that is. I have to open it right now, right? And when you do that over and over again, when you can become that person, it's the same in the inbox. Okay. If I send you something, if I become familiar in your inbox, oh, Liz sent me something. Let me open that right away. So becoming that person in the inbox, and you can do that with the email staircase that we were talking about: follower, friend, customer.
Wow. I love it. I love the analogy between the inbox and the mailbox. That is so true. And I think we take that for granted. So this is like kind of turning the tables, because something that Andy and I talk about a lot, especially with executives that are on LinkedIn, is sharing their thought leadership. So very similar to becoming friends. And I just love your take on what these executives could do to, become that friend, or to really step into this thought leadership space.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit more. Like, how do you do that? Especially if you are at that executive level, we want to be familiar, but not predictable. So don't be afraid to vary your content in the emails. A lot of people, and there is sort of a resurgent of the traditional newsletter where it looks the same. It's like a brochure. But unless you're already at a certain level and you have a large audience, that newsletter doesn't really work for a lot of us. We have to vary our content. So go back to the mailbox. If Liz Wilcox, if I'm sending you the same package every single week, By the third time, you're going to be less excited and more annoyed, right? The first time, oh, what'd she send me? Open it up. The second time, oh, that's weird. That's the same looking package she sent me last week. I open it. Oh, same thing. And then by the third week, oh, I bet I know what's in there. I'm going to set it on the counter. I'll open it later. Again, it's the same in our inbox. So as you're trying to connect with your email list, vary your content, right? Send something different. Sometimes, especially if you've got this big thought, send that out. The next week, maybe, you just want to hit the highlights from last week. The week after that, maybe you want to do a different topic. The week after that, maybe you want to send them to your LinkedIn Live that you did a couple days ago, or you want to invite them to the one you're doing in an hour. Vary the content. Don't always have it, oh, I'm a thought leader. I need to show it. I need to have these long 5-paragraph essays for every email so I can show that I'm the expert, right? Vary your content. Variety is the spice of life, baby. Remember, it's human to human, right? No matter how professional the person you are that you're emailing, they're still a person and they'll appreciate some variety, right? Keep it short, get it long, write 2 times a week, then maybe 1, then maybe 3, vary the content so that they will say, oh, Liz is in my inbox. I wonder what's inside. We want them to wonder what's inside so that they open it. You can't wonder what's inside if you're writing the same type of thing every single time you email.
So, Liz, we're going to segue on this because we have to get now to the most important parts, for me at least, of our discussion today. And we're talking variety. So I want to talk about variety with you. And I want to talk about Liz Wilcox, the Survivor castaway. And most importantly, coming in as a marketer. So something I try to watch this show through a little bit of a different lens. I always play a POV. If I were on the island, how would I go about things? Every single episode. So I watch this before bed and then I don't sleep at night. Horrible idea. But either way, huge fan, loved your season, loved your game. And, what I've always thought about is if I ran into the island, I saw another marketer there, what would I do? Would I bond? Would I be I'm scared? I'm not sure. So I'm just curious how you go into the game. Take us back to day 1 through day 25. How did you think about your career, your perspective going onto the island? Did it change at all the way you played?
Yeah, so I mentioned this earlier about I couldn't blend in if I tried. That's actually something that I learned in the Survivor casting process. A producer asked me, Liz, what are you going to do? You couldn't blend in if you tried, and most people try to blend in those first few days. They don't want to be the tall poppy that gets their head chopped off, right? And I thought about it, and being a marketer is a huge part of my identity. Because I've seen such great success with it. I teach people it. I'm constantly talking about it. And so I thought, there's no way I cannot bring it up. But also, if anyone's smart, they would get the marketer out first. What is a marketer besides a master manipulator, right? We manipulate things, and not in a bad way, right? There's good and bad marketers out there, but we, manipulate a thought or a perspective so you can see it, and the right people that see it should buy, right? And I thought, well, what if I just again, zig when everybody zags or whatever. What if I just emphasized, oh, I'm the best marketer in the world. I'm this, I'm that. I'm so successful because I am successful. I love my job. I love, talking about my success. What if I just exaggerated it? So from day 1 all the way to day 25, it never changed. I always just exaggerated it because inside the game, most people try to market themselves down, right? If I'm a lawyer, suddenly I'm a teacher. I'm just a teacher. That happened in season 48. The winner was a lawyer, but he told everyone he was a teacher. It happened in the season before. 3 people were lawyers, and 3 people lied and said they were teachers or something stupid. It happened in my season. One guy was a lawyer. He said he was a paralegal. Um, and so again, it was how can I, zag when everyone is zigging? If everyone is trying to hide their success, what would it look like if I did the opposite? And actually, it took people off guard so much that it worked. People were like, "Oh, Liz, we'll take her to the end because she is so successful. We would never vote for her." And it was my plan at the end to be like, "Oh, well, I was grossly exaggerating my success. I'm a single mom. I support 3 households. Give me the money." I just made it to 25 days and not 26. The game is 26 days. And so again, it's just that unconventional part of me that I think got me cast in the first place. I didn't go into casting thinking, "Oh, I'm going to pretend to be, this multimillionaire and I'm just going to brag so everyone thinks, oh, Liz is kind of weird, but we like her anyway." Let's take her to the end. That wasn't my strategy during casting, but I did come up with it in the last few weeks of casting.
I absolutely love it. I have to say, I watched some reels of your moments during the season, and I don't know what this is saying, but as a fellow marketer, I thought or think you're an incredible communicator. Like that's what I took from it. So I love what you're saying here because I think it absolutely applies to branding and what we're talking about with thought leadership. Just again, like zagging and then leaning into to your strengths and going that way instead of trying to like play down
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
strength.
let's talk about that a little bit. I especially knowing I'm a marketer and the new era of Survivor is a very fast game. You could get voted out for anything. And knowing my strengths, I am a people person. I feel like the show didn't show that very well, but I love people and I love to make jokes. My favorite thing in the whole world is making people laugh. And so I knew even though I was going to exaggerate myself, maybe to the point of annoyance, like, "Oh gosh, Liz is talking about money again." But I knew that they also could feel my comfortability with myself and feel that, "Oh, Liz is just, she's a fun clown. She's here to have a good time." And so that part really got people on my side. And I forgot what else I was going to say about that, but that's okay. I'm sure there's plenty more questions.
No, I
And
am just. Oh, go ahead, Jess.
I was gonna say, and Andy's playing things down. Okay, first off, Liz,
Yep.
Survivor is one of his favorite shows,
Yeah.
and he already has this pitch for. So he's like slyly saying, "Oh, well, I think about being on an island with other marketers. It's called Marketing Island, and I
Yeah,
think you
it's
would
my
be an
show that
excellent
I'm building.
Marketing
contestant."
Island. I love that.
Yes.
Well, I remembered what I was going to say though, because you said, "Oh, Liz is a good communicator." And that was something that I knew it was a strength and something I would say to the cameras all the time. But, I didn't get to the end, so it wasn't shown. But I would say, these people are so dumb. I've told them I speak for a living. I'm a marketer. Like, I have been so unbelievably honest about who I am and what I do and how I can convince people. And people would say like, "You do email?" Like, "Oh, I hate emails." I said, "You wouldn't hate my emails. My emails have 70% open rates. My emails, this and that." And they're like, "Wow, like how could you not think that I, have like a snake's tongue at the end?" And I would practice my final tribal speech every night in front of the camera. And so that was something that I knew could draw me, even if I annoyed people, which I did, even when I got cranky, which I did, even when I had a meltdown, which I did. I knew that I was a great communicator. I knew that I was a marketer. I knew I could spin anything. And even if you Google Liz Wilcox Applebee's, you will find an incredibly wild hiss. I threw a hissy fit. even then, I was able to spin it. Even then, every single person was on my side and said, you know what, Liz, we would have done the same thing. I wish I was as brave as you. I wish I could share my emotions like that. I wish I was not afraid. Even in a game for $1 million, Liz, you just are who you are. And that was something that endeared people to me. But that's part of marketing. That's part of what the last 35 minutes we've been talking about is human to human connection. Be transparent, be yourself, find ways to relate to people. And no matter what, even for a game for $1 million, people will want you around them.
I love it. This is such a backstage pass, Liz. And, Jess, you're absolutely right, Jess. You're always saying I'm watering it down a little bit. So, full story, full transparency. Age 22, Andy. Liz, this would have been a horrible mistake. So, I'm kind of glad I didn't get casted, but I did make it to a callback round when I was 22. So, we're talking
Amazing.
Survivor One World era. It would have been for that season or the season after, is what we were talking. And, I'm with the casting agent, hour-long call. You know the process, Liz, like tons of questions. We go super in-depth. One of the large things that comes up is kind of what is your persona? Like, how are you fitting in? At that time, I'm a radio host. So I was a radio host before a marketer. And I really leaned into my relatability. So Andy's strategy is that people are going to tell him they have idols. People are going to tell him they have advantages. And then I'm going to create this universe of how we utilize all this information together. And I think I would have tried that and probably got myself voted out quick at 22, but at 36 I still think that's my game. So if I ever went back into it, I asked my wife, I said, if I tried out again, are you cool with this? And she has given me permission. So the video is coming, Liz. So my question to you as a marketer, what should I be doing right now to get myself back in front of these casting agents and give this thing another crack?
You know what? I think raise your hand, put it in the comments if you're watching. Who's seen 8 Mile, right? With Eminem, Marshall Mathers. I'm a huge hip hop head. Eminem is my favorite. I've got all his tapes right here. I love him. Hello, my name is Slim Shady.
Love it.
So how does Eminem win, or Rabbit is the character? How does Rabbit win the rap battle at the end? He comes out swinging all his insecurities, all the objections the crowd has about him. He says them out loud. I'm white. I live with my mom. I got beat up last night at the club. This, that, and the other. All those things. And then the opponent has nothing to say about him, right? Because rap battle is just dissing, right? So he disses himself. He brings up those objections and he overcomes those objections himself. And so if you're going to go on Survivor, just bring up the objection first, right? I know another white guy from Pittsburgh applying for Survivor.
Another marketer, yep.
What? Another marketer, another guy who almost made it 10 years ago. What do I bring to the table? And then bring it. So Charlie from my season, I hope he doesn't mind me telling this. I thought it was brilliant. He applied a few different times, and he's a white guy from Massachusetts, Harvard degree, a D1 athlete, just throw it in the bin with the rest of them type of guy. And so he said he finally got a call back when the video started with, I know I'm just another white Harvard graduate. Who cares? And
That's the subject line.
Yes.
Right there, yeah.
Right. And that got them to open the email, right? Great subject line, great opener. And my video was, I hit record and I went, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. And that's going to come across this whole video. And so then I just got the objection out of the way of oh, this girl's too nervous to even make a video, right? Who is she? I just stated the facts. I didn't try to, hide from who I am, what I am. and overcoming that objection, I think, is really, really important. So and I also think it's out of the box. Charlie and I think, are the only people that I know that have done something like that. But we got callbacks immediately upon doing that. So, if you ever wanted to apply for a reality show, I think people are looking for people that can own who they are. That's a way of overcoming that objection. So go for it in that way.
What I find fascinating about your experience, Liz, is how now telling the truth or being as transparent as you possibly can be, like, creates this intrigue. It's almost, I don't know. This is what I'm like taking from this, that like like Andy said, it's like you're gonna open the email when you are as transparent and you're basically saying, yes, this is me.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because in my business, in my personal life, I'm a very transparent person. Probably because I'm so nosy. I want to know everything about you. I want to know how much money you make. I want to know, do you hate your job? I want to know, like, what's in that cupboard over there that nobody opens. I'm so nosy. And so, but I also have a degree in leadership, and I believe in servant leadership, which means you go first, right? So I'm always going first. On the island, oh yeah, I make this much money. Oh yeah, I do this, I do that. Oh yeah, here's my strategy. Let me tell you, and so people feel so comfortable that they, reciprocate, but also creates that intrigue. I want Liz around. Like, is she really that transparent? What else? What is she gonna say next? What is she going to reveal to me? Right. And that's also a comfortability. And I do that in my business as well. I do that in marketing. Even when I'm doing a sales, we've made 24 sales. I would love for you to be the 25th, member of this new whatever, right? My goal is to get 10, y'all, hang on, I'm going off script. My goal in my membership, my $9 thing I was bringing up, I want 10,000 people. You can very transparently, I've only got 4,000. That's a long way to go, y'all. It's been 4 years, 4,000 people. That's pretty good average. But as you can see, that's a long way to go. And so it does create intrigue of like, oh, well, she just told me 4,000. Maybe I'll follow her. I'll join her email list.
Join the journey.
When is she going to hit 5,000? And she's got 4,000 people. What is that again? Like 4,000, that's a lot of people. Maybe I should check it out. Maybe I'll be 4,001, right? So it does create a lot of intrigue. So again, that human to human, relate to them, be transparent. People will keep following, keep opening. And, when you create the right product for them, they'll buy it.
I think this is so fascinating for our audience, Jess, just to listen to you as the mind of a marketer, how you're thinking. Like, this is the creative energy that, while we teach a lot of X's and O's, AI, like all these different things, the creativeness of how you're telling a story is so unique to you. And whether you're a personal brand or brand, like, that is so much of what the magic of marketing is.
Thank you so much. And I think, to bring it back to Survivor, because I know that would please Andy.
Yes.
It was all marketing, right? Even during the casting process, when the guy was like, "How you can blend in? Like, what are you gonna do?" That he was basically asking me, "How are you gonna market yourself, Liz?" And the people I find, out there, when I think about it, the people that could really market themselves a certain way really succeeded. When they could control their own narrative, really succeeded. And something. And me marketing other people. So, for example, the person that got third place, I wanted to work with him. But he was already working with other people. And so I kind of looked around and saw, like, what's the perspective here? And what's he telling me about himself? And how can I market me as a better option? And I saw, like, oh, these people, he has a little, and this is very manipulative, but I was like, he has an insecurity about himself and I have a very similar insecurity. And so I'm going to do this, they think you're a clown. How do I know that, Ben? Oh, well, they think I'm a clown too. So I'm marketing myself as the same person as him. And so we need to align, because it's them versus us. You're not part of that group. I see the way you see the way they talk to me, they talk about you that same way. So it's all marketing. Survivor is one big marketing campaign, and I
Marketing
loved
Island.
every second I'm salivating. I loved every second of it.
So you're telling me, Liz, if Jeff hits you up on the phone later on, we'll say it's Survivor 60, because I know 50's coming up. We need Liz back on the show. Are you running back to the island to do this again?
Oh, I would totally. I found the game of Survivor for a marketer, I found to be relatively simple. Of course, playing, being out there on the island and starving. If you Googled me, you'd be like, "What are you talking about, Liz? You were always crying." It's like, yeah, well, I was starving. That part was hard, but the social game I found to be really fun, and relatively simple, and so I would love to have another go.
I love it. That's the $1 million question right there. And Liz, I will say on your behalf, I know we're at time, so I gotta finish with this. Is that when they did the voting for Survivor 50 and the formats like they wanted it to be, they bring up the fire challenge, Liz. I am very anti fire challenge. If Jeff wants my perspective as a marketer, I want to see the social game all the way through the end. I don't want any challenges to dictate the end. So I'm always like watching that, and I'm like, dang it, I wish I could have seen Liz battle this out with the four.
Yeah, so at in the new Game of Survivor, three people go to the end, and we vote of those three for the winner. So at four, there's a fire making challenge, and whoever loses fire, their game is gone. When you win fire, you go with the other two to the end to vote for the million. I lost fire. So they recently held a vote. CBS recently held a vote for, do we want fire to remain in the game for season 50, which is a milestone, who has 50 seasons.
I know.
And I voted to keep the fire,
Oh, you want to
even
keep it?
though
Great. Yeah.
I have a very hot take. I love the fire making challenge. I think it gives, because at four, it's very easy to gang up and say, we got three against one, you're out. But it gives that one person one final
Desperate
chance
chance.
to a win fire. And unfortunately, I think that's where I'm very misunderstood. A lot of people say, oh, there's no way Liz could win. It's like, okay, well, why did three people want me to lose in fire then? Again, marketing wise, it just don't make sense. But I'm not here to defend myself, but I will defend the fire making challenge. I know it's
I
a
love it.
hot take. I know most
Literally.
people hate it. Yes. Even me, who literally lost in my mind, in my own delusions, I lost $1 million over that fire making challenge. Um, but I do believe I would have been voted out that night. So either way, I say keep it because I think it's very suspenseful. I love it. So we'll see who won. I don't know. I think that I'm in the minority, so I don't think it will be in the season.
I like the variation, like I get find that some stuff can get stale after too long. Like Exile
Yes.
Island, for instance, was a gimmick that they did. I thought it was awesome, then it got a little stale. So I like the mixture. Like
Yes,
I
I
like how they
agree.
change it every so often.
Yes, and that comes back to what we were talking about, be familiar but not predictable.
Yep.
Oh, I know who Jess is. I know who Andy is. I wonder what's inside instead of, oh, I know we're at final four. Oh, it's going to be final. It's going to be fire. It's going to be
Yeah.
this. Mix it up. Probst and the gang,
Yeah.
mix it up. You listening out there, that's how you win in the game of entrepreneurship.
Well, Liz, I know we're at time. Jess, we have so much to unpack today. This has been, Liz, just a stupendous episode all around. I've learned so much about email marketing, and then tying it to Survivor. Like, this is just like such a nerd out episode for myself. So we
Me
super
too,
thank you
babe.
for coming on.
Yes, thank you all so much for having me. Uh, you know, I just can't wait to see what people do with email. If you'd like to check me out and get started with your email marketing, you can go directly to lizwilcox.com. In the top right hand corner, there's a hot pink button, just like this mic. You can't miss it. It'll get you everything you need to get started with your email marketing and started with that email staircase we talked about. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Liz.
Yes. Thanks, Liz.
Bye.
Bye, friends.
So,
Wow.
Jess, I feel like we learned so much today, but this episode, what was unique is I haven't had a marketer probably take us through her process as much as Liz has from like a personal branding standpoint. I think this will be fascinating for our executives out there that are kind of afraid to start getting on LinkedIn or just any type of platform, how to market yourself, market your business, how to send an email, just like so many learnings. I have to go back and watch this one again.
Really, anyone in corporate, I love how she has carried her through line in everything that she's done. And it's funny, I thought she was going to pick learnings up after going through a competition like Survivor, but it was actually the reverse. She was already marketing like
Yeah.
this, and she brought that into Survivor, and that's what gave her the competitive edge. I loved it, and not just executives, because I was thinking too when she was saying things like, "I'm nosy. I want to know how much money you make. I want to know if you love your job and what you're doing." I'm like, wow, an HR leader when they're doing their employer branding or recruiting, they need that type of mindset, because how much more effective could they be, again, if they put everything around their customer, their end user, like the people that they are trying to develop this connection with.
And that's something I wanted to really highlight, and I'm glad Liz appreciated it. So when you play Survivor, there's all kinds of different players, strategies, techniques. There's people that catch some breaks, there's people that don't catch some breaks. Like, there's all kinds of things that can happen. But the one thing that you kind of have in your control is who votes for you, against you, and how do you control the narratives to keep people away from that. The fact she did play 25 days and didn't have one single vote cast against her, she lost because of the fire challenge at the end, is so fascinating, and just it really shows how a marketer could get on a show like this and create the narrative to keep them in the game. And she really goes into like playing herself up more. Her business was X successful, she was this character, and just fascinating to listen how you think about that, because she was going to try to get to the end and then played into like a big reveal as to like how she marketed through the game as she got to the end. So it's very interesting to hear that process. And also why, Jess, I have said as I watch it on TV and I watch with other people, Andy, what would you do in a situation if I hear marketing? They either are going to be my best friend or they're going home. There's no in between. Like, if I don't think they're going to work with me, I'm sending the marketer home immediately, Jess, because they scare me on that show.
Yeah, and what's the deal? This was a learning with all the lawyers. Like, why do you hide if you're a lawyer?
So people are hesitant to reward the lawyer $1 million at the end. So if they make it all the way to the end of the game and then you have to vote for who the winner is, and let's say you're a school teacher versus a lawyer, the lawyers have a lot of trouble convincing people to give them the money. So they try to play down their role, where Liz took the opposite and played it up, because she thought people would take her to the end because nobody would reward $1 million to a millionaire. So she told everybody she's a millionaire.
Yeah, see, I love it. It's super fascinating. I think about how this could apply to LinkedIn, and I could see the brands on LinkedIn again, and in the personal executive space, playing it up, like playing your strengths up, going that zag versus zig, but then tying it back to, yes, I'm this successful and I want you the customer, to be as successful as me. I want to help you. And I think that's a way in which you can, flip it back. So it's like you're leaning with yourself, but flip it back to the customer.
I mean, I even thought about today as Liz talks about her email business. Let's say that we do ever grow this podcast and we do email marketing, we've dabbled with LinkedIn newsletters, of course, for $9 a month to have her with some proven headline styles to help us, templates. Heck yeah, like this is someone that's like, I want to like help her, and I also think she's going to help me. It gives us like really mutually beneficial relationship. Like even just through the podcast, it got me thinking, what would that even look like? And she really sells that idea of being able to work with her and her expertise all throughout website, interview, Survivor. It's a special talent that Liz is possessing.
Totally. And we didn't get into it because there wasn't a place to jump in. But fun fact, since we're talking about concerts, NSYNC was my first concert.
Oh, that must have struck your heart when she showed the NSYNC.
Well, it's funny. I grew up, and I still have not been to many concerts after the fact. So, like, I went to my first concert in high school, and it was at Soldier Field in Chicago. And I didn't know what to expect. My friends wanted to go, and I went, and I was blown away. I was like, wow, what production value. And then to see just all of the fans, I mean, it was wild. I'm assuming this is what it would be like going to a Taylor Swift concert
So
with
would
all
you
the
go?
Swifties.
Would you go in 2025? NSYNC does the reunion tour. So we know Timberlake still tours, but that's different than having the whole band back together. I think it sells out arenas, NFL stadiums if you had the original NSYNC again.
I would. I definitely would. Yeah, for that nostalgia moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if it was back in Soldier Field and I was, visiting family in Chicago, I would do it.
Yeah, nostalgia. We talk about it so much. It's what people like, and you think about it too. So let's think about it through like just a business perspective. So Gen Z has jumped in as a large percentage of the buyers now, especially in like a B2C e-commerce world. But if you think about what is the luxury buyer, so the Taylor Swift tickets, the suites, the buying the $500 experiences, that's the millennial audience right now because they've aged up into that 30 and 40 range. So nostalgia, targeting those millennials. Like I hear we talk. I know you do, Jess. We handle clients that want what's called like luxury affinity. Like they want this type of audience. That's the millennial audience. Like figure out what those connectors are and what speaks to them. Liz's website, that 90s look, that definitely speaks to us. That stops our scroll immediately.
Totally. Yes. Loved it. Again, and it created that intrigue where I was like, okay, I wanna learn more about her perspective.
Yeah. Love it. I could have gone on forever. I hope
Yeah.
you enjoyed. I hope our listeners enjoyed my Survivor nerdiness. Like I was trying not to fanboy too hard on this one because I know like working with celebrities, athletes, and such in the past. I try not to go too hard into it. So I want to like ease it in for Liz, and she seemed to enjoy it.
But really, there was what I take away from this. There is so a connection between like how she marketed on Survivor, marketed herself on Survivor, and what she's doing now, and really what we all could take and do on social and on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Like we need to do more of what she's doing.
Yeah, I want her to go on hard on LinkedIn too. That's one part we didn't get into. I was like, Liz would be perfect. Drop in some short form videos about business lessons from Survivor, marketing on Survivor. Like, I feel like there'd be a whole audience on LinkedIn that would find this fascinating because there's a lot of fans of this show just that don't like talk about it a lot. But I think if you start polling people, you find a lot of people would watch this show, whether it's casually or hardcore into it.
And I can't believe that the 50th
Yeah, 50th season's coming up.
I will say, okay, so there is a nostalgia point to Survivor for me as well. So I did watch the first season. I was very much into it. I watched it with my dad. Like the two shows that we would watch when I was in high school were Survivor, and then we did watch The Amazing Race. And I can't remember if they were on the same day or different days. They were probably on
Yeah,
different
I think
days.
they're different
Yes.
back then. Yeah.
And yeah, so that was definitely our thing. So I was for sure into it that first season, and like look at the staying power now.
I
Wow,
know.
50 seasons. I don't even think South Park. Maybe South Park is up there, or it's The Simpsons.
Yeah, probably The Simpsons is the one I think that would be longer. There aren't many shows that go 50. So I think it'll keep going too. It's not a reality shows aren't super high production shows. That's why they can run for long periods of time, even though there's production islands, cast, crew, host. There aren't actors and actresses, and that eats up their money. So you get like 4 A-listers, you end up spending $50 million a season just on that. So if it can get enough ratings, enough sponsors, I think it's something that's like a no-brainer for CBS because it's hard to generate that type of loyal audience with a sitcom show that could cost 5 times as much. But
Fascinating.
well, maybe that'll give me that spark to try to create my videos again. There's ideas that I have, there's techniques I have, and I told, my wife, I was like, look, be real, like I think I'm doing good physically right now. Go to the gym, we've been eating healthy, like everything's like right where I want it. Probably got a 10-year window. Like, I don't know if I want to do this when I'm like 56. Like, I don't know if that's the smartest idea to be going out on the island at that age. I think this is like prime window right now. So I used to apply in my 20s. I made it decently far the one time. I took a break from it. Haven't done it in a good while. I feel like right now though, Liz convinced me. Maybe we should do it again.
Yeah, not forget Survivor. I think she was complete validation that you are onto something with your Marketing Island pitch.
I know.
Maybe that is what you need to be
That's what
pursuing.
I need to do. Just let me host Marketing Island. No, I don't have to go through any of the tumultuous exercises out there. Like I'll hit up Mark Burnett, the creator of Survivor, hit him up and be like, hey, here's what I got. Let's do this thing. Let's do like a 8-show pilot episode in the middle of summer.
I think you're onto something.
Give it a try. But that's all time we have for today, Jess. So thanks again to Liz, LizWilcox.com if you want to check her out. And Jess, I'm only going to tease it right now because I'm not going to give like the full episode details. I would say stay tuned to our socials because we got another episode lined up in the coming days that will be very relevant to things that we talk about in the world of, what would I say, the world of concerts. Maybe we'll just leave it at that.
The concert trend continues.
Yes, concert trends. Until then, we'll talk soon, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.